in the native plant garden at the Cherokee Nation's Tribal Complex. Joining me now is Pat Gwin, Administration Liaison. Pat,
glad you're here, Kim. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Well, tell me a bit about the purpose of the native plant garden.
Well, it's a little different than most of the gardens you visit, but we basically have two main purposes here at the plant garden. One is to maintain our seed bank, and the other is for cultural preservation with our language program. And that sounds somewhat convoluted, but it's the reason we do that is that the Cherokee language cannot be separated from nature. So when we talk about the plants, we're actually talking about nature. The plants don't have a name, they actually have a description in the Cherokee language.
That's a really interesting concept, probably a little difficult for, more Western.
It's a Category 4 language, it's very difficult to learn, and most of us will be nothing more than mere novices in our lifetime.
So the culture and the history of the plant's really connected to the language.
The name of the plant actually describes the plant, it describes its uses, it describes its role in nature, a myriad of things. If you know the name of the plant, you'll know a lot of its natural history.
Wonderful. We could take some tips from that, I think.
I think so, yeah.
Well, there's a number of different plants. You mentioned food plants, but also plants that have, whether used for craft or tool making or medicinal purposes. And I'd love to highlight them all, but let's take a look at a few culturally significant plants. Starting here, the vine growing across the way. Tell us about this.
That vine is a wild potato. Its Western name would be Apius americana. It is actually one of the names of the Cherokee. It's one of the 7 names of Cherokee clans. The Wild Potato Clan. They were the farmers of the Cherokee people. They were the gatherers of food, gatherers of certain types of botanical materials. And Apius americana is technically a legume, but it does grow a tuber.
Okay.
And the tuber is harvested in the fall and has a potato taste. And we would really like the potato to be up in the potato garden, but Mother Nature continues to wash its seeds down here, and this is where our best stand is. So
yeah, at least it's being preserved.
Yeah, so
right?
This is where we have it.
And it's winding its way into the river cane along the creek here.
Yes, this is a river cane, Arundinaria gigantea, and we started this here at the tribal complex about 4 years ago. This was a waste area, and river cane is back-breaking labor to transplant because you generally don't find seeds, you generally don't find rootstock, you have to plant root clumps of about 80 pounds.
Yeah.
And we started with about 80 root clumps. And from that, this is about 4 years old. This is a little thicker than normal because we baby it. It's got some manure fertilizer, and we've had a couple of Mother Nature has thrown us a few curveballs.
Yeah, it's been a couple of hard years.
We've had we had a geese infestation, we had a Norway rat infestation, but as you can see, it's doing really well now and pretty much takes care of itself and is actually expanding.
And this is a plant that had a number of different uses.
This plant had basically all the uses. It could be used as a food stock, it could be used as medicine, and it was also used as a textile.
Okay. And you have some different crafts and tools here made from a variety of plant material. But these are the cane, correct?
Yeah, this is river cane over here. These would be arrows. Obviously there's a lot of work to get from this stage, from that stage to this stage.
Absolutely. And what's this tool for?
This is a fishing gig. Okay. And you would have just simply, today this is used up in Delaware County, Spavinaw Creek to fish for suckers.
Excellent. This, of course, is a blow dart.
That's a blow gun, and obviously heavily ornated, but also still used every day.
And I thought this was very interesting. The darts are lined with thistle down.
The darts today they use thistle. Now, back in the day, they probably would have used American basket flower, but thistle is a little hardier, more robust plant, and a little easier to find in northeastern Oklahoma, and the actual shaft would have been made from Osage orange.
Okay, very interesting. All these wonderful uses for the plants. Popular Native American
stick ball. These are stick ball sticks. We have this tree here. This is shagbark hickory, and we have it growing over here in the native garden. And course, as you can tell, it has to be a pretty good wood to be able to be able to carve and bend it and steam it like that. But these stickball sticks here are shagbark hickory, and these are Osage orange as the darts.
Okay, and also, oops, sorry.
And the bows are
also
Osage orange.
Excellent.
Or bow dark, or horse apple, or
many different names.
Yes.
A plant of many names. Well, there's a plant here that you mentioned was one of the most important to your tribe. Let's go take a look at that. Mark, this is a plant in the willow family. It's one of the salix.
Yes, this is Salix humilis, prairie willow.
Okay, tell me a bit about this, why this is such a special plant.
Number one, it's rare in Oklahoma, period, and it may be rare throughout the United States in its range, but it's exceedingly important because our cultural, religious ceremonies really can't start without a preparation of this plant. And there's only 1 or 2 places in the Cherokee Nation where we know this grows wild. So it's also on a road project, which most of it was bulldozed last year because of the road project. So we were able to salvage this plant from the road, and this is the very robust individual because of the care it gets. But it has numerous names in Cherokee. It's called redroot, baby willow, and like the rest of the willows, it has medicinal qualities, the aspirin, and so forth. But probably the most interesting thing about this plant is it's often described as the plant that walks, and I always thought that was a funny, hokey story. But when you actually read the natural science of it, the plant grows rhizomally. So it grows in this spot, and then once the conditions aren't suitable at that location anymore, it'll grow rhizomally for a couple hundred yards and then pop up. So the Cherokees just kind of translated that into a plant that walks. So there's a lot of wisdom in that if you think about it.
Absolutely. Now, one way that you help educate visitors to the garden is through signs. And all the signs here are in both Cherokee and English.
We have our immersion school here. So when the immersion school is here, that's the young kids, and their entire school is done in Cherokee. So we'll cover up the English version, and the teachers will make them go around, recognize the plant, and read everything in Cherokee. But not only is it good for the kids, but it's good for us older kids that are still wanting to retain some of the native plant knowledge, and some of the new kids wanting to learn the plant knowledge as well.
And you're also getting ready to produce some educational booklets, right?
We are. We've semi-produced these 2 small booklets. We don't have them for sale yet. We're waiting for approval from the editorial board, and hopefully within the next year, our complete book that has 110 Cherokee species in it will be published. And of course, when it's published, it will be both published in English and in Cherokee.
Excellent.
So we'll get to sell 2 books for 1.
Wonderful, and a great way for people to retain that language and how it relates to nature.
And we'll be able to use the proceeds to put back into the native plant garden and to continue to assist the elders with the work in retaining the knowledge.
Well, in addition to your crops, you also have another important native plant over in more of the vegetable garden area. Let's go take a look at that. Pat, the plant you have here is Rattlesnake Master, and I actually love this plant for its architecture, and I use it in the garden. What's the significance to the Cherokee?
Well, the Rattlesnake Master is one of the 7 sacred plants of the Cherokees. It had a number of uses, mostly cultural, mostly medicinal, mostly ceremonial. What I think is interesting about these 3 plants you have here is, of course, this is the beginning of their growing season, and we'll grow these to about 6 to 8 foot tall, which you never see Rattlesnake Master that large in the wild. So it really likes it here. Here in northeastern Oklahoma, Rattlesnake Master actually will grow in the understory of our oak hickory forest. So I don't think it has a chance to really grow like it grows in other places. But out here, we've grown it 8 foot tall.
Wonderful.
It's a beautiful plant.
Wonderful. And you had mentioned earlier to me when we were just visiting that having the plants here allows elders who might not be able to make it into the woods to come out and see these plants.
Yeah, that's correct. We have a group of elders that we work with on a quarterly basis, and they actually come and we'll build them a campfire. They'll sit around here and they'll just sit down and tell stories. And the stories they tell are true native science stories that you can't get anywhere else, and hopefully we're going to be able to preserve some of those.
Wonderful. Well, another thing you're preserving is genetic diversity, and you're doing that through preserving some of your native crops.
Yeah, we have 22 species of heirloom crops that the Cherokees had pre-European contact. And what you see here, this is our white flour corn. Cherokees had 3 different types of flour corn, each grown in 3 distinct valleys in North Carolina, which just goes to show they were geneticists far but long before we were geneticists, so they knew how corn was a little bit promiscuous, I guess. But this is a corn that's a wee bit different from what you can buy in the store. This will be maybe 14 foot tall. It'll grow 2-foot cobs, and you don't have to spray it. It takes very little water. It may not be the world's best corn on the cob, but it does make great flour.
Excellent. And through your program, you also raise beans?
Beans, gourds, ceremonial tobaccos, a few different other types of plants. I said we have 22 different ones. Some years we'll do thousands of packages. The last couple of years, because of the weather, we've only done about 500 per year. But
and you make those seeds available to
all
tribal members?
Tribal citizens, Cherokee citizens, they're available free of charge. We start our seed exchange every February 1st.
Excellent. That's a great way to preserve the culture, but also bring it back and get people actively involved.
It gets people out of the house, and a wise Cherokee once said, no self-respecting Cherokee would ever be without a corn patch.
Wonderful. It's great to see that you're helping them maintain that.
We could use your help come August.
Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.